The essay Resonance and Wonder by Stephen Greenblatt. Greenblatt is an American born critic, um, born in 1943, Boston, Massachusetts. Important works are Practicing New Historicism, Hamlet in Purgatory, and Stephen Greenblatt is popularly known for his study of William Shakespeare's plays. Greenblatt was credited with establishing the literary study called New Historicism. New Historicism is shortly a parallel reading of a literary text with that of a non literary text, generally of the same time period. To quote Louis Monroe's, an oft quoted statement from Louis Monroe's, New Historicism is a reciprocal concern with the historicity of the text and the textuality of history. The term was introduced by Stephen Greenblatt in his work Renaissance Self-Fashioning from Moore to Shakespeare, which came out in the year 1980. And New Historicism refers to the reading practice which takes the historical, cultural context of a text in connection with the production of its meaning. It was again a reaction against the rejection of history in the close readings proposed by new criticism and deconstruction. Greenblatt, instead of new historicism, substitutes or introduced another term called cultural poetics later on. It refers to the basic assumption of what is called old historicism, that history is the background against which literature is foregrounded. Greenblatt as also is the co-founder of a journal titled Representation, uh, and these are his notable works: Shakespearean Negotiations, The Circulation of Social Energy in Renaissance England, Learning to Curse, Essays in Early Modern Culture, and Marvelous Possessions, The Wonder of the New World. Over to the essay Resonance and Wonder. At the outset itself, we can see that Greenblatt defines what is meant by resonance and what is meant by wonder. Resonance, he explains, as the power of the displayed object, the power of the exhibit or a museum piece to evoke cultural historical context from which it has emerged. And wonder, according to Greenblatt, is the power of the object to arrest the viewer's attention, to evoke an exalted attention. According to Stephen Greenblatt, an artifact, a piece of exhibit in the museum, displayed in the museum, possesses these two powers. One, to evoke the cultural historical context from which it has emerged, and the other, to arrest the viewer's attention, resonance, and wonder, respectively. Next, he explains how resonance can be achieved. Resonance can be achieved by awakening in the viewer a sense of cultural and historical constructions like negotiations, exchanges, etc. The moment one looks through an object, a resonant exhibition, if it is a resonant exhibition, it pulls the viewer away from the celebration of isolated objects towards a series of implied and half visible relations and questions, says Greenblatt. Questions like how did the object came to be displayed? What is the stake in categorizing them as museum quality? How were they originally used? What cultural and material conditions made possible their production? All these ideas, all these questions come to the mind of the viewer while viewing a really resonant exhibition or exhibit. He gives a very solid example for this resonance through the Jewish synagogue of the Jewish Museum in Prague. The Jewish synagogue contains exhibits of synagogue silverwork, synagogue textiles, Torah scrolls, ritual objects, manuscripts, prints illustrative of Jewish beliefs, traditions, customs, etc. The resonance depends, according to Stephen Greenblatt, not upon the visual stimulation. It's not upon the visual impact or visual effect of these objects on the reader that resonance is formulated or evoked. Rather, it is through the felt intensity of names behind the names, as the very term resonance suggests, of voices. The voices of those who chanted, studied, muttered their prayers, wept, and then were forever silenced. The silenced Jews' images, the tribulations they went through, comes to the mind when one views such objects. This power of the object, this power of the exhibit to evoke these ideas in the mind of the viewer is referred to as resonance by Stephen Greenblatt. And he gives an example for wonder. For this, he cites the example of the classic Mayan site called Koba, the high pyramid known as Noach Mul. See, the high pyramid called Noach Mul. So he exemplifies or he narrates his like how he went to this Nohoch Mul and his experience there. He was accompanied by an structural engineer, and during one of his conversations with the structural engineer, he told that the structural engineer informed Greenblatt about another attractive exhibit, that was the Coca-Cola stand on the way in. The most impressive example of contemporary Mayan architecture, according to the structural engineer who accompanied Stephen Greenblatt, was this Coca-Cola stand. So upon his information or upon his direction, Greenblatt went to see this Coca-Cola stand, and the impression that brought in Greenblatt was just this. The immediate response on Greenblatt was that he felt like shipping the Coca-Cola stand to New York and display it at the Museum of Modern Art, or in short form MoMA, Museum of Modern Art. Why to the Museum of Modern Art? According to Greenblatt, MoMA is one of the great contemporary places, not for the hearing of intertwining voices, not for resonances, rather for historical memory, for the ethnographic thickness. It is not meant for all these things, not for evoking the intertwining voices, not for evoking the historical memory, not for ethnographic thickness. It serves another purpose, the intense enchanted looking. Looking may be called enchanted when the act of attention draws a circle around itself from which everything but the object is excluded. When intensity of regard blocks out all circumambient images, stills all murmuring voices. So MoMA was a site for looking, so enchanted looking. And once he saw this Coca-Cola stand, he felt like shipping off to it from the classic Mayan site to MoMA, to the Museum of Modern Art. Now he explains how modern museums create this wonder in the onlooker. The so-called boutique lighting that has become so popular in recent years. What is this boutique lighting? A pool of light that has surreal effect of seeing to emerge from within the object rather than to focus upon it from without. This is an attempt, according to Greenblatt, to provoke or heighten the experience of wonder, which modern museum designers use or employ nowadays. And according to Greenblatt, the association of that kind of light with commerce would suggest that wonder is bound up with acquisition and possession. It evokes the dream of possession and evacuate it. This modern Gothic lighting of the modern museums creates a psychological sense of possession about the object in the onlooker, says Stephen Greenblatt. Now he brings in or he closes his essay through the example of a museum named Musée d'Orsay, and it is a railway station that was preserved and changed to museum. And here paintings were installed in different corners of the museum. These great paintings were installed in unseen or unnoticed corners of the museum. Why? Because this would create wonder, and that will ultimately nullify the resonance evoked after seeing the railway station. So, in order to avoid this, in order to avoid the nullifying of cultural resonance evoked from the railway station, so, Morse d'Orsay is a railway station that was changed to a museum. And inside this railway station, or inside this museum, paintings of great artists were also installed. But these were installed in the unnoticed corners of the museum. This was done in order to enhance or heighten the effect of cultural resonance and bring down the effect of wonder in the onlooker. So, the idea behind installing paintings in different unnoticed corners of the museum is to heighten the impact or heighten the effect of cultural resonance evoked in the viewer. They feared that when these paintings are displayed, it will nullify the effect or the evocation of cultural resonance in the onlooker. But Greenblatt says that first, every exhibition worth viewing has elements of both resonance and wonder. And he continues, the impact of most exhibitions is likely to be enhanced if there is a strong initial appeal to wonder, a wonder that then leads to the desire of resonance. So, according to Greenblatt, or he concludes the essay by pointing out that first wonder is evoked, and then this normally leads to resonance. Thank you.